Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the First Family of Las Vegas's daily free winner show, brought to you by who? The best website on the planet, SportsMemo, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. Now, guys, before Dionne and I, by the way, good morning, Dionne.
Good morning.
Good morning. You look cute today.
Well, thank you.
I like your hair like that.
Thank you.
It's like cheating.
I like yours too.
It's like cheating. I gotta live with that. Before Dionne and I give out our free winners for today's action, we have some exciting things to talk about. Dionne?
Absolutely. Today, Joey and I have a huge discount for you. Family 7 is the coupon code for a 7-day all sports inclusive package for both Joey and myself for $59. Go over to SportsMemo now and take advantage of that, as you will have some pro and college basketball in this weekend's NFL winners. And tomorrow, be sure to tune in, as the pioneer of sports betting industry, Ross Benjamin, will stop by and give out a free winner.
There you go. I'm excited to have Ross on the show. I love him. Best hair in the business. Guys, we've got something else Dionne and I are very excited about.
We are.
Today's guest.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm proud to say that I grew up watching him, and he was one of the best. But I'm even prouder to say that he's a friend. Now, wait a minute. This intro is going to take a moment, guys, because he was outstanding. One of the best to ever step on both the collegiate and the professional football fields. A standout out Louisville, then in the NFL. Get this. Five-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 2-time NFL touchdown receiving leader. I'm not done yet, guys. A member of the Miami Dolphins Honor Roll, inducted to the Kentucky Hall of Fame. 582 receptions, 8,974 reception yards. A whopping, get this, guys, off the charts, 84 touchdowns, a member of one of the best teams ever, with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and certainly one of the most respected coaches ever. Guys, you know him as one of the pair of the greatest tandems to ever walk on an NFL field, the March brothers, the one and only Mark Clayton. Welcome, Mark.
Whoa, hey, Joe, man, you're hired, man. You know how to pump up a guy, man. It sounds good to me, though. Thank you.
Well, I got to tell you, Mark, we do the show very early in the morning, and I make sure I'm pretty. Ever since Dionne started joining me, I'm not the prettiest guy in the set anymore. And now I see you at 8 a.m., and I got to tell you, not only were you a sharp guy in your playing days, you're even better looking now. God has been kind to you, brother.
Hey, I appreciate that, though, man. You know, it's just that, I guess, good living, clean living.
You know what? There's some genes in there, some good genes in there, too, because you were pretty sharp. We talked before the show that we were trying to get a couple of promo pictures of Mark to put out there, and there's so many because, Mark,
it's hard to choose just one.
You have so many great moments. We had one we were laughing about that way before some of the more flamboyant guys in the 2000s started coming around and wearing things on the sideline. Mark is one of the sharpest guys in the NFL.
He's still sharp.
He's still sharp. But I want to talk. I know there's some things you want to talk about. Some things I want to talk about, Mark. First, we're honored to have you here, and I love you. And we'd like to get you on regularly because not only are you my friend, and I know how great you are. I know everybody out there. You're just so well received because you're always a Class A guy.
I appreciate that, though, man. I just try to be the best person I can be, man, and just live my life accordingly, man. I thank you for having me on the show, though, Joe.
You got it.
Dionne. Thank you, guys.
I know Dionne has a few questions for you.
I do.
We still have the picture of you. Sports fans out there, we had the good honor of first meeting Mark several years ago. He was with his other Mark's brother, Mark Duper. A few years back, we got a chance to meet him. They were so gracious, so wonderful. You know, as classy as they were on the field, and they were two of the classiest. On one of the classiest teams ever. Man, they are just even more classy off the field. And our picture with you is still right here on this wall. We look at it all the time. And every time I think like, oh, God, I look good, I look over to that picture. I see you and Duper, and I got pretty myself up more. Dionne, I know you had some questions for me, or some comments.
Well, I know that when we mentioned that you were coming on the show, we got flooded with a bunch of questions. People were so excited that you were going to be on the show today. We were overwhelmed. But before we go into any teams that you like this weekend and standouts for the Super Bowl or any MVP candidates, can we talk about your playing days with the Dolphins?
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
because I know everybody was really excited to hear about that.
I know that, sports fans out there, because Mark has so many achievements and so many great teams and so many great stories surrounding him and those teams. I had to prep with Mark yesterday before the show because this would be like a series. This would be like a mini series just going with Mark. So we touched on quite a few things. And I know Mark has a few things he'd like to speak about maybe Coach Shula, about Dan Marino, his friendship with Mark Duper over the years. Mark, please take the floor. Tell us. We want to know.
Well, first of all, man, I was just very fortunate to really land on a team such as Miami. I've been a big fan of the Dolphins. I grew up a Dolphin fan as a kid. I got a chance when I got drafted by the Dolphins to meet my idol, my hero, Paul Warfield, which was truly an honor when I got down there, and I was just like a kid in the candy store when I was just got in the locker room and I was seeing the likes of Nat Moore, Don Strock, guys that I had been watching over the years growing up. But it was just such an honor just to see Coach Shula in the flesh, because he's legendary, and to be coached by a guy like that with such status was just such an honor for me, and I just took advantage of the opportunity. I didn't win too many games when I was in college, but when I got to Miami, I really got to know what it really felt like to actually win some games. I got a chance to be coached by a guy that really was on top of his game, paid attention to detail. That's why we were one of the least penalized teams throughout my 10 years down there in Miami. But man, it's such an honor just to be on that team right there, and just to be able to do the things that I was able to do, but being blessed with such a great quarterback that I had the pleasure of playing against him when I was in college. And he never failed to hesitate to let people know that they kicked our butts really good, because Pitt was a good team back then, and they still are. But he really throws this one up too, because I think my junior year, our junior year or senior year, we went to Pitt and we jumped out on those guys, and we took the lead like 14-0, something like that. And then they came storming back. We didn't score another point, and then Dan was out of the game by halftime because they had ran the score up on us before the half. So he said, yeah, I only played a half and I only did this. I said, well, okay, man, you were on a better team. But now let's talk about the team that we're on together. So I was dreaming of the day to really be playing on a team with a quarterback such as yourselves, because I was stood there and I watched them doing pregame warm-up when we played them at Pitt. I was like, if I had a quarterback like that, I would be an All-American. But I got blessed and with the good fortune of playing with him down in Miami, and as they say, the rest is history.
Well, Mark, I got to tell you, people don't know. A lot of people don't realize this out there, but he had a big edge over most people. He was born Italian, and no, Dan Marino actually, let me ask you this: as a fan growing up, there was always two things we read about in the '80s. You read about defenses preparing for only two quarterbacks. They had to go out of their way to prepare for two quarterbacks. How hard John Elway threw and how fast of Dan Elway's quick release. Can you talk about his quick release and you as a receiver, please?
Oh, no question. I really didn't hear about a quick release about any quarterback having a quick release until I got to Miami. But then after I got out there on the field with him, I really know what they were talking about when they were talking about the quick release, because once he dissected the play and analyzed the play, he got that ball out of his hands so fast. And the veteran receivers used to always tell us, man, you need to get your head on a swivel and get your head around, because when Dan throws the ball, he's throwing the ball before you come out of your break. So you got to really get your head around and locate the ball so you can be ready to catch the ball. And another thing, he had that quick release. I tell people the reason why he had that quick release, Dan wasn't a big fan of getting hit. So he knows to keep from getting hit, he had to get that ball out of his hand, and he done a great job at that.
Let me ask you, Mark,
that's a great story.
Everybody talks about him as a leader. Everybody talks about, and you go back to Shula because he was fortunate enough, Coach Shula, to have a leader like Dan Marino on the field. And that was amazing because growing up, we didn't hear about dissension in that locker room. There was a lot of stories about the Steelers rocker. I'm not bad-mouthing it, but Steelers and Cowboys and other teams here and there that had some dissension. But there was always a camaraderie and a respect. And once again, it goes back to the on-the-field leader and then the coach on the sidelines. And as he mentioned before, as Mark mentioned, one of the least penalized every year in the league teams. And even before Coach Shula went to Miami, he was with the Baltimore Colts. That team was one of the least penalized. Let me ask you, Mark, and I don't want to compare anybody because it's like comparing apples and oranges, but I don't want to put you on the spot, but it seems like today's times there's a lot of animosity between players on the same team,
Absolutely.
especially on the same position. But I remember growing up in the time that you were destroying defenses, that there were certain tandems, if you will, that just they were in sync together. Dallas did have Dallas. There was a lot of talk about Dallas, but they always had a couple of wide receivers during that time that were always like you always seen them out in the papers and stuff. Yeah, the Washington Redskins always had a couple of receivers, but I don't think that any receiving tandem during that entire era was as storied or as acclaimed as the Marx brothers, you and Mark Duper.
Yes.
And you were telling me on the phone yesterday that
how close they still
how
are.
close you weren't just on the field and how happy you were for each other, but how close you are still now. Can you tell me about having a guy like that playing the same position, and why was it so different then than it is now?
Well, today it's kind of a different kind of ball game compared to when we play. The rules are different. The players' attitudes are different. The paychecks are different. So I think that kind of all comes into play when you got the competition. Duper and I had a friendly competition. It really wasn't no animosity about who's catching more balls, because we knew going into the game that there wasn't going to be a whole bunch of balls between us two, because it not only was it just us two, we had Nat Moore, we had Joe Rose, we had Bruce Hardy, we had Dan Johnson, and we had Troy Stratford. Dan had a luxury to throw to like at least 7 or 8 different people. That's why, we had to take advantage of our opportunities when we got the opportunities back then, because unlike today, it's a passing league today. These guys are getting 10, 15 targets a game. And Duper and I, we talk about this all the time. We say, back when we were playing, we were lucky. We were lucky if we got 6 targets in a game. So we had to make do with what we had. The ball was spread around evenly and equally amongst everybody. Nobody was really complaining, because really it was all about the team. When we wanted to win, it really wasn't about your numbers. It really wasn't about your incentive clauses or any. It wasn't about the stats, because like now it's more about the stats. These guys are, it's a passing league, and these guys are wanting to pad their stats. That's why the numbers that I have now was going to be dwarfed in a few years, because of the amount of balls that are being passed around today. But I've been out of the game for like 25+ years, and my numbers are still holding up there strong. I'm still in the top 20 in catches and yards and touchdowns, and I've been almost 30 years gone out of the league. But I'm still trying to get the ultimate accolade. I want to get into that Hall of Fame, which I feel like I rightfully deserve.
Well, Mark, you got my vote, and a lot of people out there feel the same way. Let me ask you this. Can we move over to more present times right now?
Absolutely.
Okay. We have 4 games this weekend. Now, we don't have to talk about point spreads. That's not something we have to talk about, even though I know a lot of people out there that want to know. We've got 4 games among 8 very, very good teams. I mean, obviously, this is the time of year. Some people might get a little bit lucky backing into the playoffs, but to get into this far, you've got to have some skill. There's got to be something to it. You got Cincinnati playing Tennessee, San Fran, Green Bay, which is a big rivalry. We've got LA Rams and Tampa Bay, and I don't want to talk about, it's hard to argue with Tom Brady's numbers. You just can't. And the guys don't. I did read something funny this week, just on a side note. Tom Brady's actually older than 3 of the remaining coaches that are left.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I can believe that.
And then you've got Buffalo KC, which is, it's the
Big
be-all,
game.
end-all. It's a big game. Any teams this weekend really you feel that are going to just crush?
Well, I don't know if we're at that point now, because we're at this stage in the season now where you don't expect any teams just to really go out there and crush another, because all teams around should be equally talented to make it this far. But there should be some big ball games. I'm really excited about that Kansas City Buffalo game, because I feel like whoever comes out of that game is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. That's how I feel. Then you got that Tampa Bay, that Rams game is going to be a delicious, good game also too, man. So man, I'm excited, man. This is the time a sportsman where I really get excited about watching football because I know it's playoff time. These guys are putting it on the line. The cream is going to rise to the top. I guarantee you, because it's so much on the line and stuff. And these guys are not about about playing for a paycheck. They're about playing for that chip, that ring. And that's and they're going to lay it all on the line. You're going to see guys just doing things that they ordinarily probably wouldn't be doing in the regular season, because this is the time to pull out all stops. There's no next week. It's win or go home.
That's right. And let me tell you, although we all like playing golf, no NFL player wants to be playing golf in January or February. That's for sure. Let me ask you this, Mark, real quick. MVPs. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of guys out there. People saying Tom Brady, people saying Aaron Rodgers. There's a couple of other dark horses in there, so to speak. Anybody you think there right now?
It's a 2-horse race. It's those two that you just said. It's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Aaron's put up another ridiculous year. Unbelievable. But you got to take your hat off to that old geezer right there, TB12, man. This guy is getting it done like nobody's business. And he said that he can play till he's 50. With the rules that are implemented and are in place now, he can probably play till he's 60.
Yeah. Right. I give him a lot of credit. I don't know if in this or any lifetime we'll see somebody who's gotten to the big game as much as Tom Brady or won them, but he certainly has what it takes to get there, and he certainly showed with overcoming a lot of adversity in a lot of these games. He's made a lot of comebacks. He's done some things. Last year sometimes the Bucs did not have the greatest defense. They sputtered. They didn't have a running game. They sputtered. He seems to lift up the whole team around him. You and I talked yesterday about certain players and leaders, and I always say, I don't want to put you on a spot, but I'm a firm believer of a pocket passer. I know the game has changed to a lot of these, and they're very athletic, these young guys that can run, these quarterbacks. You give me a guy that can read a defense and can lead a team when a guy like Marino Montana on his own 6-yard line, 1:34 left, and he goes, we're going 94 yards and we're scoring. And the 10 guys in the huddle, they know they're going to score because they believe him in their hearts. The game has changed a lot. You're right. The rules have changed and changed. I think a lot of the sports have changed to benefit a lot of different things. Baseball's changed a lot. And, a lot of people say the purity of the game, that's for another time. But I do think that great is great, and you certainly are great. I have one question. Dionne and I are going to give out a free game on today's basketball in a minute, if you can come back and wait till the end of the show. But I've got a question for you that before you go and come back, I have one question. Dan Marino, classy guy. I ran into him maybe a year and a half ago here in Vegas. Still good looking. Between me and him, who's better looking, honestly?
Well, Joe, since he's got the locks, man, and I played with that guy, man. He threw me, somebody threw me 79 touchdowns, and so I'm gonna have to go with that guy right there.
Okay, you got it.
I'm gonna have to say I think you two are better looking.
Both of us are better looking.
Thanks, Dionne. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mark, would you hang out maybe about a minute or two? We're going to give out a game. Hang out. We're going to be back with you because I got to tell you, this is one of the most enjoyable shows we've ever had. Hang out. Guys, Mark Clayton will be right back. Let's go into some free game situation. Dionne, can you tell everybody what you have for today? It's a free game, but more importantly, what you have premium and what's going to be going on this weekend.
Absolutely. I got everyone paid yesterday with my NCAA basketball above the rim. Tonight, we're going to do it again with another one. I will also have 2 to 3 NFL playoff games posted by tonight on SportsMemo. So don't forget to go over there, pick up those games, and use that discount that we have going on right now, because it is amazing time to go ahead and take advantage of that.
Tell me about your free game tonight. I'm interested because, once again, guys, when she wins, she don't tell me who she's got. And she hasn't told me who she's got in the last few days. So
But you can go over to SportsMemo and use that discount and see who I
I'm
have.
not paying for my wife's pays. You didn't pay me for dinner last week. Tell everybody what you got as a free play.
Well, today I have a nice free winner for you in Big Ten action. As the fourth-ranked Boilermakers travel to Bloomington to take on the Hoosiers. 7'4" Edie and 6'10" Williams are dominating opponents in the paint. The tandem is combining for 29 points per game and 16 rebounds per game. While Indiana has their own talented big men, overall, they just don't possess the supporting cast to compete here. Purdue, though, is brimming with confidence following back-to-back 90-plus point performances in wins and covers against Nebraska and Illinois. They entered this game knowing they have won their last 9 meetings with Indiana straight up. And we know they are 8-2 ATS the last 10 meetings with their conference rival. Right now, the Hoosiers are 8-0 ATS the last 8 as an underdog. They are going to lose badly. They lose badly to better teams. So I'm going to go ahead and take Purdue here, guys.
Take Purdue. She's going with Purdue, sports fans. She's on fire. Ride that winning streak. But more importantly, if her free games are winning and they are winning, go over to SportsMemo. Go get her premium plays now. It's my time to talk. It's my turn.
It's your time to shine.
By the way, she likes to mention that guys are 7'4" and 6'10". It pisses me off. When I had hair, I used to tell people I was 5'10". Hey, I can't get away with that anymore.
But it's okay because myself am not very tall, so I have to be not with someone who is like 7 feet tall.
I could get on his shoulders and I wouldn't be 7'4". So we're having some fun, guys. I've got a free winner for everybody, but give me one moment. I want to tell you about what's going on tonight and the next few days. After another conference game of the week winner last night, Wake Forest crushing Georgia Tech by 16. My ACC game of the week. Those conference games of the week just keep winning. And guess what? I have another one tonight. I own the WCC. I own this. I know this conference. I watch this conference. I own the conference. My WCC game of the week, just $25 over at SportsMemo. Also, the best big game hunter on the planet for over 20 years. Documented. I'm going to have something on all 4 NFL playoff games this weekend. There just might be a game of the month or a game of the year, but you got to go over to SportsMemo to find out. Now for tonight's free winner, guys. I grew up a fan, and I separated my heart and my head with this. We're going to talk about NBA. Sports fans, the Knicks once again displayed a glimmer of hope as the team went over 500 with Saturday's winning cover at the Hawks. Well, guys, the team then trampled the hope. They trampled that hope by dropping back-to-back games to bring them back down under 500. One sure bright spot is their defense. It's certainly tightened up recently. They now host the visiting Pelicans, which are dealing with their own laundry list of problems, my friends. Their top contributor, Brandon Ingram, has slumped a bit, accounting for less and less points over each of the last several contests. His numbers are dwindling over, I believe, the last 4 games. They go down, 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 down. And if he's not on the floor contributing, remember, Zion is still out. Their offense sputters badly. Now, let's go. Guys, let's talk about the fact that New York has taken the last 3 meetings straight up, and they're laying a short number here. Urges me to side with the Knicks team playing at home in the Garden against a lackluster offense and needing to turn their season around right now. The Pels, that's the Pelicans. The Pels, 1-4 ATS the last 5 on the road. The Knicks, 6-1 ATS the last 7 at home. I like New York here. I liked it to this morning at 3.5. It's like 4 as of, I had to look over here. It's 4 as of taping this show. If it goes up a little further than this, I'd be careful. I think they like 3 baskets. Not much more than that. You got to be careful on that game. Sports fans, I want to bring him back in a second. Let's get rid of this. Dionne, let's bring Mark back because I love him. Mark, I know you're a big fan you're an athlete and you grew up, we talk sports regularly. Basketball, hockey, you told me that you love to watch hockey, especially in the playoffs. We've got a pretty darn good hockey team here in Vegas, the Vegas Golden Knights. So next time you come to Vegas, let's go to a Knights game. And we were talking on the phone. I've been to stadiums all over this country and Canada. And I have to tell you, Allegiant Stadium
it's a beautiful stadium.
Is gorgeous. It is wonderful, and it's a place you're going to bring your family, which is great, So the next time you're in town, and I know that I believe you mentioned to me that I think you took a tour of the stadium.
No, I would like to tour of the stadium. I heard that it's beautiful.
Well, the next time you're in town, we'll arrange that. We'll go do it together. You know what would be great if we could go and see a game. I've got to tell you, I'm very happy for the Raiders. I'm a sports fan, and I went to a couple of Raider games over the last few years in their old stadium. Not as family friendly as this current stadium is, and I'm very happy about that. First of all, it's a better stadium. It's a modern stadium, not a stadium like anything like it in the world right now, because they keep building them bigger and better. But it's a great place to watch a game. You can see from anywhere. The fans are there, and I will tell you this: unlike almost any other place in this country that you watch a game where you're going to see mostly hometown fans, you see a lot of people, because it's Vegas, coming into town from Denver, from San Diego, from all over.
Mhm.
And while I'm always a hometown guy, it's nice to see that people are coming to Vegas because this is this isn't just a gambling capital anymore. It turned into the entertainment capital. It's becoming the sports capital, Mark. I mean, you mentioned to me Super Bowls, Pro Bowls, drafts. Everything is coming here. I'd like to see you come here a little more often. Let's see if we can arrange that because not only were you one of the greatest to ever step on a college or a pro football field, not only are you a class act, I just adore you. I think you're just a wonderful guy. Having you on today's show meant a lot to Dionne and myself. I know it means a lot to people out there. Would you come back and join us again?
Oh, absolutely, man. Just invite me and let's do it. But
invite you. I got the spare room already made up. You can have the bed in the house. I got the spare room made up.
Sounds good to me, man. I'm gonna take you up on that now.
You got it. Well, folks, I want to thank
to host Pro Bowl parties, draft parties. So if somebody wants me now, all they got to do is just hey, just let's make it happen.
Hey, sports fans, Mark Clayton, first of all, not only is he charming and good looking and great, he's one of the greatest ever. People love him. He's telling you, reach out to him. Any parties, any events, how about some signings?
Signings. I love Las Vegas.
Come on in, guys.
That's
Mark,
great.
I'm gonna be putting is it all right if I put out your Twitter later?
Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, it's Hands83.
Yes, sir.
Hands83. I'll make sure I repost that and I get that out there. Mark, I want to thank you. Dionne, I think we're gonna close out.
We are. It was an honor to have you on the show today. I am almost to tears. We are big fans of yours and we are honored to have you on with us today. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm honored to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't forget, folks, tune in every day for special guests and a ton of free winners. And on behalf of SportsMemo, this is the First Family of Vegas.
Hey, guys, good luck and have a winning day.